What forms do I need to file taxes for my dependent with no income?
Hello there. Today, we're going to discuss a common, yet often puzzling aspect of the tax filing process. What forms do you need to file taxes for your dependent who has no income? If you're a parent or guardian, this is particularly important information to understand. Don't worry, we've got you covered. We'll go through this step by step and highlight the crucial points to remember.
Who is considered a dependent?
Before we get to the tax forms, let's first establish who is considered a dependent for tax purposes. A dependent could be a qualifying child or a qualifying relative. They must meet specific criteria, such as living with you for more than half the year, not providing more than half of their own support, and being under a certain age, usually 19 or 24 if they are a full-time student.
Do you need to file a separate tax return for your dependent?
A critical question we need to address is whether you should file a separate tax return for your dependent who has no income. The general rule is if your dependent doesn't have any income, they don't need to file their own tax return. Instead, you can claim them on your tax return.
Which tax forms do you need?
Assuming you will be claiming your dependent on your tax return, you will primarily be dealing with Form 1040, the U.S. Individual Income Tax Return, or Form 1040-SR, the U.S. tax return for seniors if you are aged 65 or older. One critical section you'll want to pay attention to is the section for dependents. You'll need to provide the dependent's full name, social security number, and relationship to you. Moreover, if your dependent qualifies for certain credits, such as the child tax credit, you will also need Schedule 8812, Form 1040, Additional Child Tax Credit. The child tax credit has been expanded in recent years, so be sure to look into whether your dependent qualifies. And there you have it. Filing taxes for a dependent with no income isn't as complex as it might seem initially. Remember, your dependent typically doesn't need to file a tax return if they don't have income, and you can claim them on your own return using Form 1040 or Form 1040-SR. Always stay aware of any tax credits your dependent might qualify for to ensure you're getting the most from your tax return. Thanks for joining us in this discussion, and we hope you found it helpful. Stay tuned for more tax-related guidance, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions. Happy tax filing!